His profile said he was looking for something serious. Halfway through the date, he asked if I'd be open to something more casual.
Unless you're over 6 foot and earning millions of dollars, you're being filtered out before you even get a chance.
By the end of dinner, I knew his whole life story, and yet he barely asked me a single question.
It's hard to be yourself when the whole date feels like one big checklist.
You're not tired of dating. You're tired of dating the wrong people. Unjabbed. Real people with real values.
Well, there you go. That's a short promo video there for Unjabbed Australia, Unjabbed Dating App, and I'm going to be talking to the founder of that app just in a short minute after I do a bit of an introduction. So, but I'll just bring up some information there for you. So, I'm going to be talking to founder Louie Veleski. So, Louie is the Australian founder of Unjabbed. He's also a long-standing Melbourne entertainer and the founder and frontman of the cover band Sexual Chocolate. Before moving into technology, so as he got older, he realised he can't be a wannabe rock star forever. He became fascinated with web design. He started his business Sonic Web by initially creating free websites to build a portfolio. Once that grew, he began designing websites for local businesses. He later became the national marketing manager for Steinway Sons Australia, looking after their marketing, web development, and CRM systems. During the COVID period, he saw an opportunity to create Unjabbed Dating for people who chose not to take the COVID-19 vaccine. So years of building real-world communities and speaking directly with people shaped his approach to Unjabbed. Listen carefully, be honest about what is still growing, and create a dating service where people are treated as human beings rather than numbers on a screen. So let's bring on Louie here now and have a chat about Unjabbed Dating and unpack all that a little bit more. G'day there, Louie.
Thanks for having me, Mark. And just let it go on record, you are the first podcast I've ever appeared on. So this is a milestone for myself.
Oh, well, there you go. But obviously not shy of being on stage or I guess in front of a camera. You did share your YouTube link for your band, which we just talked about in the intro there, Sexual Chocolate. So we spoke about that a little bit before the podcast during emails because I questioned the name, and it was actually, and I had to go back and watch it again. That little clip from Coming to America. I actually watched that movie a long time ago, and it was actually a reference from a band in that, and I had to watch that, a bit of a chuckle watching that again. But I did actually check out your actual band and some of the songs you're singing there. So you did doing all right, and you've been around for a long time. So that in itself is testament to, I guess, the success of your band and what you've been doing. But covered quite a range of music as well. What would you say the main genre was that you're covering for your band?
Pretty much everything from pop to heavy metal. I mean, being a cover band back in, well, it's been 25 years that I was involved in that, over 3,000 shows. We played everywhere. We did the Crown Casino, Mercury Lounge for 6.5 years. We're at venues like PJ O'Brien's in South Bank for like 7 years straight as a residency. And we traveled all over Australia doing corporate functions. So it was a different time of my life and, exciting at the time. And when we first started, you're absolutely correct. The inspiration for the name Sexual Chocolate was coming to America. And before it was politically incorrect to dress up as different races, we actually used to put on all the makeup. So I guess I won't be getting into any political careers because they'll probably bring that up and say, how dare you paint the blackface?
Yeah, blackface always comes back to haunt people. I think people like this today.
Definitely does. But that was our beginning. We did that probably for the first couple of years. We did the whole makeup and pretty much dressed up like the characters from the actual movie itself. And then after probably about 2 years or so of doing that, we just went to being a normal cover band, and we did the hard yards and eventually got to a fairly, I guess, successful state as far as cover bands go. But then, as you mentioned at the start of the interview, after a while, you sort of think, how much longer can I keep doing this for? You keep getting you keep getting older, but the crowds stay the same age, and it starts to feel a little wrong in the end.
Yeah. Well, some people are just, just not normal. If you look at AC/DC, some of them have been around for a long time, still on stage doing what they're doing. But
Yeah.
it's crazy. You've got to have certain kind of blood to to do that for that long.
Exactly, and the AC/DC, Rolling Stones, I mean, they're a different ball game because they're original bands, they're not cover bands, and but being a cover band to attract crowds, especially the younger crowds, because let's face it, they're the ones that go out and party. It gets harder and harder as you get older and older. I mean, I used to go on stage with an open shirt and a six pack, and maintaining that is hard work within itself. Doing it, 4 nights a week or so, getting home at 5 in the morning, not the easiest of careers. People think, oh, how exciting, but it's hard work. Definitely hard work.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely not scared of sort of controversial names or not names. So you've gone Sexual Chocolate as a band, but also a website or an app that's been developed called Unjabbed Dating. So definitely not averse to having sort of a strong marketing slogans for some names. So I guess we're going to talk a little bit about that now, because that's what we want to talk about. But tell me a little bit about your experience, because clearly, unjabbed dating come about through COVID, obviously COVID-19.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your experience through that period of time before we kind of go on to, the development of the app and the site and where it's been going from there. So, what was your experience through that period?
I think during that period, it was horrific for quite a lot of us. It wasn't just how I felt about it. A lot of people felt coerced into, wearing masks and, being locked up in their homes. And I think it affected the whole entire planet. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I think Australia was particularly more affected. I think we were the most locked down city in the world, Victoria. And at the time, I sort of, I've never been someone that's been interested in politics. To be quite honest, I didn't even know what left or right meant. You're on the left, or you're on the left. I had no clue. And at that particular time, I learnt how much how much overreach the government actually has. And that was quite a wake-up call. I was quite defiant, so was my partner, so were my parents at the time. So we didn't acquiesce. We didn't want to let the powers to control our lives. So I was a little bit defiant. I wouldn't wear the mask. I'd get dirty looks everywhere. I guess I did a lot of research at the time, but from that whole experience, I think, as they say, when the world gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So I found an opportunity. I saw an opportunity that there was, especially when the vaccines were being sort of forced onto people and mandated. There was a lot of people out there that didn't want to take it, just like myself, and they also wanted to find partners in the dating sense that didn't want to take the vaccine either. So I thought, well, I wonder if I could end up developing an app. And funnily enough, the moment you come up with a great idea, you straight away realize that other people have already thought of that idea. There was an app called Unjabbed. I don't think they were an app at the time. Actually, they were, but they were banned both from Apple and from the Google Play Store because they were getting controversial. And that's something that I definitely did not want to do with Unjabbed. We sort of stay out of that. We don't have forums on there where people can discuss things about the vaccine. And just for the record, I am not anti-vax. I'm not. I would say I'm not even pro-vax either. I'm sort of somewhere in the middle. But this particular vaccine I just felt was a little forced on people very prematurely. developed. Most vaccines take anywhere between 5 to 10 years to develop. This was, developed within a couple of months, and it's quite scary that they were mandating something that hadn't been really tested properly. So yeah, then I was a web developer. I wasn't an app developer, so I had to find someone to develop the app. It was an absolute disaster. So just to let people know, this is probably I'd say the fourth iteration of the app. And we went through a lot of hurdles, a lot of setbacks, a lot of pissed off customers, and understandably so, because people that use our app, they don't realize what goes on in the background. They don't understand that I, as the founder, only have so much control. You're only as good as your team that's putting things together. And it's taken a good 3 years to get to the point where we are right now. We have a very solid team now. We address issues now very quickly. So we pretty much will address an issue within hours sometimes if someone actually comes up with, lets us know about a bug or an error. We've even gone to the point of, if you go to our website, you'll see that we even have a section on there that if someone does report a bug, we give them we fix it and we give them a free premium subscription for a whole month just for reporting the issue. And we sort of did this because, especially in the early stages and even up until recently, people weren't giving us the opportunity to fix things. They would just give us a bad rating on the Google Play Store. And you can't really do much once you get that bad rating. People are very quick to give a 1-star review, but they're not very quick to reverse that 1 star even after you fix the problem. So it's been difficult to find the people that make the 1-star review. Or we can't figure out who they are as a user on our platform, so we can't approach them directly. So that's been quite difficult, but we seem to have that under control at the moment. And it's just nice to be able to have a solid team that can fix issues very quickly and promptly and keep users happy.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and the reviews are, they're live now, and a lot of people can jump on these things, and even just opposition people or people that have got an axe to grind or whatever can put bad reviews in and so forth. So it's really hard as a business when you're kind of relying on reviews, good reviews, or with the platform so accessible to provide negative ones, it is hard to stay on top of. So look, it sounds like that's been a bit of a challenge, but it sounds like obviously you've got a lot of work to try and address those, and whether or not you find a way that you can kind of put updates on the website or whatever about how you're addressing that, and even just saying to people that might have put low reviews, look, we've fixed this. If you have in the past put in a low review, please come back and check in with us or whatever. So it's a tough business. So I've worked for organisations that rely very heavily on that, and it again, people can look at 1,000 5-star reviews, but there'll be 1,000 5-star reviews, but people will look at the 20 or 100 1-star reviews, right? So it's kind of
it's a human psychology, and look, I understand that because I do the same thing. So I don't blame people for being angry and giving us those 1-star reviews, but what they also need to understand is that there are big corporations out there like the Googles and the Facebooks, and they have glitches on their own apps, and they've got a team of 1,000 people working on their app. We're a small team. We're a niche dating app. We're a niche demographic, and sometimes we even might get a 1-star review because someone goes on there and they're not happy about the fact that there's not enough people in their area. Now, those are probably the most infuriating 1-star reviews because it's totally out of your control. We can't force people to join our app, and they're probably used to being on Tinder or on some of the mainstream apps. And look, they've got millions of users because they're a mainstream dating app. They're not a different demographic or a niche demographic like we are. So they get upset about that, and they go and give us a 1-star review. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, I I can't fix that. If it's a bug, if it's an issue on the app that's something's not functioning properly, I'm more than happy to own it, fix it, and then hope that the person after we fixed it, that same person reverses the 1 star. But what we have found over the last 3 years is that when someone gives you a 1 star review, you fix it, you let them know that it's been fixed, and very rarely do they reverse it back. We do have some really nice people that do reverse their 1 star reviews back, but most people don't. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's just the nature of the beast, and it happens to the big players in this game as much as it happens to, probably more so to us, because it's taken us a long time to get to the point of having some stability within our own sort of development team.
Yeah. So, and the challenge is obviously there was a certain demographic you're looking at, obviously your own experience through that. Things have changed a lot, and we discussed this isn't a conversation about safety and effectiveness of vaccine and all that sort of stuff, but there was a lot of people that actually chose for their own reasons, whatever their reasons are. People should be able to choose what they put into their body or get injected into the body, and it's not up to the state to determine that. And I think that was one of the big issues. But being 5 years on in that, though, how do you what would you say to people that happen to have been hoodwinked and through the risk of losing their job ended up getting it? Are you still looking at them, people that are sort of, because we were going to talk into a little bit about the conservative side of things with the site, the difference between your site and how other sites get handled, and we'll talk into that. But what would you say to people that got through there, but they see a site that's called Unjabbed, but they say but they also are looking for the right type of people, the right connections, and what would you say to those people maybe looking at your site to do that?
We welcome those people with open arms. And as a matter of fact, especially within the last year or so, we're actively trying to, I guess, pivot our demographic to a more conservative dating platform, people that value freedom, people that are into common sense, people that are not into hookup culture. We're by no means a Christian dating site, but we want to, I guess, really sort of concentrate on trying to get that demographic over to our app, because at the end of the day, I had a lot of friends, I had a lot of relatives. They were coerced, and they had to take it because they would have lost their jobs. I at the time was a little luckier because I work from home, so it wasn't such a big deal for me. But I feel for those people, and we really would love those people to join our app. And people on our app are very transparent. Within their about me section, they will tell you if they are looking for someone that has to be unvaccinated. So if that's the most important thing to them, then they're going to obviously be looking for someone that's in the same position. But we do have a lot of people on there that are not, that did get the vaccine, but have more of a conservative view on dating and are looking for someone that has the same values as them. So absolutely, we want those people. And I think it's very difficult because, as you said, moving 5 years on after the whole COVID thing, one of the hardest things in marketing, and having been involved in marketing for such a very long time, is pivoting your demographic or rebranding, so to speak. We don't want to go to the point of rebranding because that could be catastrophic for us, because then that might end up making things really difficult. But we want to, I guess, have both. We want to have the unvaccinated people on our platform, and also people that just value the freedom type of aspect of not having an authoritarian governments telling you what you can, as you said, put inside your body and inject inside your body.
Yeah, and that is the challenge because a lot of people, I guess, have worked out, who's in your camp type thing. Who was the type of neighbour that was going to dob into the government because the government said, who's your neighbour not wearing a mask or whatever. So, people quickly worked out, who's who in the zoo, and I think it is important to have something that's there where people understand that. Look, I can jump on here and very likely find someone that shares my overall values in life in regards to what what's important for them, and some of that obviously is like you're talking about, that the freedom, the less government, kind of almost libertarian maybe mindset, kind of scenario. So you did touch on that. You mentioned hookup culture. So how are people actually protected on Unjabbed? From the sort of hookup kind of scenario, but also there's like people setting up OnlyFans accounts and all those sorts of things. So how are people protected from that? So if they come to the app and they genuinely want to, don't want to be exposed to all the stuff that comes with some other ones, how do you protect people from that?
We've actually made a lot of strides in that particular area. It was look, having never managed a dating app before, you get to learn things very quickly of what the biggest problems are with dating apps. And the biggest problem are scammers, fake profiles, solicitation. All these things come into play, and trying to, I guess, control these areas with a development team that isn't capable of putting security measures in place quick enough. That was very difficult. So we had a lot of people that were angry that you could obviously see that some of the members on there were scamming. One of the biggest problems we faced initially was fake accounts from Nigeria. I mean, let's face it, they are the king. They are I guess the first people to do the first scam on the internet. If you sort of think about, I'm a rich prince from Nigeria, and I've got millions of dollars, and I need to offload it somehow, and that was like a very popular scam, and they're still going strong. Let me tell you, so much so that we've now banned all profiles and users from Nigeria. So we block that IP address if it comes from that country, because we're just getting such a huge influx of them. We would get 20, 30 of them signing up a day. And it would be always would be some man, most likely a male, pretending to be a hot woman from a Western country with a fake image, and it just got so out of hand. It was like, users were really complaining about it. So we've banned them from creating an actual account. And what we've also done, because it's not just people from Nigeria, there's people from all over the world do scams. So now we have a couple of technologies in place. When someone uploads their profile, especially their initial images, it goes through a scanning process. We call it it's like a Google reverse image scan. And it checks to see if that profile image is appearing on multiple other sites. And that usually is a red flag. I mean, 1 or 2 or 3, but when it's saying it's appearing on 20 to 30, you know that that's someone that's out there using that image for scamming purposes. So that's one red flag that we end up getting alerted about. If a member flags someone, like we have a profile, if they report a profile, we do what we call an AWS live scan, facial scan. So we trigger that, and then that person that is being accused has to do the live face scan to make sure. And all that is just to make sure that the person that is on the profile image is the same person that has created that profile, nothing more. I mean, I remember we sent out an email letting our members know about this, and boy, the backlash from some of the members was absolutely full on. Like, how dare you ask us to, analyze our faces. This is the mark of the beast, and all sorts of, fearful kind of rhetoric coming from the users. And we had to let them know that this is only used occasionally, and it's used for people that look suspicious. And it's a protective mechanism for our members. I mean, we want to protect our users. We have cleaned up so many fake profiles. The moment someone reports a profile, we act on it instantly. We don't sort of sit on our laurels and wait a couple of days or a couple of weeks. It's instantly addressed. And I want to pride myself and the team on, and the app itself, on being a safe place for people to go and meet other people, and to let them know that the moment something looks suspicious, we address it quickly. We even have like a lot of solicitation. So, prostitution, solicitation, as we said, OnlyFans accounts. So if they try to put their handle on the description, they're not able to. They're not able to do websites. They're not able to do the @ symbol or anything like that. They still have a crack at it, but once again, our users report them. We check them out. And we even had one individual from the United States that thought she could end up, I guess, fooling the system by holding up, instead of writing the information down, she held up her OnlyFans on a sign on one of her images. And it wasn't the main image, it was one of the images, because she probably cottoned on the main profile image we usually scan. But, we still managed to find her, and we delete those accounts instantly. We don't even suspend them. We just outright delete them. There's no solicitation allowed on our platform under any circumstance.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And look, I can understand if people, email like that goes out, especially with freedom-minded people
Yes.
that come onto an app like that, would be the first people to jump up and down. We had a bit of that with Substack when I was doing writings on Substack, and they decided they wanted to do that with the under-16s social media thing, and a lot of people jumped off a very good platform for that reason as well. But so that's understandable. I can see the people that are in this space that would be attracted to a platform like yours would be arcing up with that for sure. So apart from obviously that part of it, what other sort of what sets it apart from, say, others in regards to security and privacy and so forth?
Well, the main sort of tools that we use, I guess, the fact that if someone is suspicious, we do live face scans for them. We have a preliminary reverse image check. I mean, look, no dating site, no matter how much security you put in place, is going to be foolproof. Someone's always going to maybe fall through the cracks, but eventually they seem to be caught out. That's why I appreciate when our members report suspicious profiles, because we can't monitor every nook and cranny 24/7. It's just impossible. It's getting better, but it's still. And then what could end up happening is you can do the security, like go over the top, and then you start flagging profiles that are totally, legit and haven't got any issues. We have a verification process as well. We encourage our members to really do that. Take the time to do the verification process. Basically, it's a very simple process, but it's quite foolproof. Basically, what happens is that we provide you with a unique code, and that unique code needs to be written down, not typed, not printed, written down by hand on a piece of paper, and you just need to show your face and that code. And if it matches your profile image or any of your profile images, you are then verified. You get the green tick, and it's a lot safer for people that see a verified profile to know that if they're speaking with them, that is the actual person they're speaking to. Now, whether that person's going to be a nice person or a bad actor, we can't control that. We're a facilitator, so it's up to their own discretion meeting them in a public place when they go out on a date, or don't go to their home straight away. We have some of these these sort of rules in our privacy policy on our website as well. The safety aspect of dating. But that's pretty much it as far as security is concerned. That's what we do, and I think it's more than enough. Instead of like going overboard with the security, otherwise we're going to start banning everybody.
Yeah, that's right. It's a fine line to tread, isn't it? That's right, exactly right. Trying to find the right.
I just want to say, inappropriate images as well, we take off straight away, and we do have some bad actors with that. But the moment someone does that, usually a member will report them, and that person has that image flagged, and they either need to remove it or replace the image.
Yeah, okay. Or face suspension, or possibly getting knocked off, I'd imagine. Yeah. So I guess just bring it up. And obviously, this is a website, but you obviously you download the app onto the phone, and obviously a lot of the activity happens on the app. But there's quite a fair bit of information for people to find out about, I guess, the business Unjabbed. And the app, and it's quite an extensive website. I've had a bit of a browse through it, and you do cover quite a bit of details there. Obviously, talks about you and your mission. It talks about the values. Obviously, that's come along there: family values, common sense, genuine connection. So, you're encouraging. With the app, it's a breath of fresh air, because what you're actually encouraging is people looking for real, lasting relationships, not just the hookup culture, which is something that I kind of appreciated looking into it when you first sort of reached out and had a look at it and thought, this is because people use this a lot, and it's really interesting. I was talking to someone from church, and just about dating apps and that, and family members have used them, and there's actually quite a few people within the church communities that actually rely on that. We talk about, for me, I guess, if there's any traditional people out there that like the traditional aspect, it used to be you meet someone through a friend or through church or whatever, but the environment's totally changed, hasn't it? So it's really a lot, just even that aspect in any circle has changed, where people are genuinely meeting each other online these days, because you can really scope out a bit more of the person if you have the right setup.
That's correct. Look, Mark, I've been out of the dating game for 18 years. So I've been with my partner for 18 years. And if I was to have to date in this world the way things are at the moment, I think I probably struggle a little. And, it's horrific out there, and that whole hookup culture of just constantly swiping left all day just to meet someone. Even though I own an app, I'm a founder of an app that has a similar sort of swiping left type of feature, the way the app actually works. But at the same token, we are trying to really cultivate real connection, genuine connection, to have people find other people that have their similar values. And that is really the mission. We don't want people to join our app if they are into hooking up. Now, you're gonna get some people on there that are only into the casual thing, but that's fine, because we released a brand new feature recently where it gives you the option to list all your relationship, do's and don'ts, or what are your desires for as far as your relationship is concerned, and what are you really looking for. So once you tick off all those different aspects of what you're looking for, then it'll pretty much show you people that are interested in similar values to yourself. But at the end of the day, we're trying to really get away from that hookup culture and just constantly swiping and just trying to meet people for something casual. Having been in a relationship for 18 years myself with the same partner, I'm also in I understand when you're young, you're not ready to settle down. I get that, and that's probably why most of our demographic, I think, is 35 and above. That's pretty much our biggest demographic. As far as you mentioned, when you download the app, you can download it off the Google Play Store. Unfortunately, we're not on the Apple platform. We have tried multiple times to get on there, especially initially when we developed the app originally. But I think we've been rejected probably about 4 or 5 times now. And I don't think it's due to the subject matter anymore. Might have been initially, but Apple has way too many dating apps, and they don't want just another dating app. We've tried to let them know that, there's a point of difference. We're a niche demographic. It hasn't worked so far. Hopefully down the line we might be able to get it done. But that's why we developed what we call a web app. And a web app is exactly the same app, but it works through a website. When you sign in, you can actually save it as an icon on your phone, and we give you instructions on how to do that. It's very, very easy. You just basically, it says share icon, and then it goes onto your phone, and it looks like a normal app. Functions like a normal app. The only difference is that if you do subscribe, you go through the PayPal portal rather than paying through Google Play Store. So that's the only difference. It's the same pricing, same everything. And yeah, it's much it's much easier to have done the web app than to have continually tried to always get Apple to agree to letting you join their platform. They're very strict, but we'll keep trying. We haven't stopped trying.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Well, it's a trial and error thing, isn't it? It's obviously keep working at it as it evolves, and that sort of trust factor comes into it, and so forth as the community grows and so forth. So, so looking at pricing then is obviously browsing profiles, send likes, create mutual. So that's all part of free. That's free, but obviously for paid membership, adds optional tools that help you connect sooner, so people can check that out, what pricing's like and so forth for themselves.
So the only difference with the premium subscription and the normal free subscription. So we've changed this recently as well. We used to charge people if they matched with someone, at least one of the members needed to have a subscription in order to initiate chatting between them. So in the last, I'd say, couple of months, maybe 3 months now, we've changed this to it's totally free. The only time you might want to get a premium subscription is that we send an email out to every member the moment they get a like. So if someone likes your profile, you get an email sent out to you. Now, you might have 15 likes, 20 likes. When you go to your profile, those likes are blurred out, so you don't actually get to see who likes you. If by any chance, as you're sort of scrolling through and you accidentally match, you both like each other, then that's a match. You get to talk for free, and you don't have to pay anything. So in that sense, the app is totally 100% free. But if you want to see who liked you and not have those images blurred, then yeah, you would need to pay the subscription. And look, just so members know, we're not we're barely breaking even. Someone would probably think, why on earth are you operating an app that's not really making money? Whatever money it makes, it goes back into development, goes into paying developers, goes back into server costs, database costs. There's so many costs involved in running an app, and people sometimes don't realize that. We don't have investors, we don't have funding from anywhere, but I want to keep growing the member user base, because I guess I started the platform and I want to keep it going, so the demographic can just keep growing and growing, and have it as a safe place for people to meet. The other thing is that if it does grow down the track and we get a lot more members, well, then eventually, yes, I will end up making some money out of it. But at the moment, no, it's definitely not profitable by any means. We're barely breaking even.
Build it, and it will grow. But I mean, obviously, it sounds like the values base is there. You're trying to, be authentic based on the values that you're sort of describing, and getting the right people on there. And again, coming back to the hookup culture stuff, if you've got a platform that has 95% of people that are really genuinely looking for, great relationship, lasting kind of relationship, and people jump on there that want others, they're soon going to find out they're not going to be matched up with many people, because if the majority are not looking for that type of relationship, then they're not going to hang around. They're going to go to other sites, I guess, that that are doing it. So it's kind of how it would work just by itself, and I'd say that's probably going to be the case. I did want to talk is that some of this stuff we had here is the news, and I was scrolling through here, obviously before jumping on, but I do like some of these articles that are on there, obviously unvaccinated and dating, how to find your perfect match, and all those sorts of things. So there was some real great articles I was seeing about that helps people on their first date, what to expect, what to look out for. So there's quite a bit in there. And one of the things I was thinking is that, and I couldn't find the article, you might be something to develop, or might be there, is giving people advice about what to do before you even meet up, because I was thinking, like, people that I know, and I talk to, young people who've got adult children as well, and they, obviously you don't want to go and meet someone blind for the first time without actually doing video messaging first, or really just showing each other what you actually look like, starting to develop that. Because, for me, I'd feel like, I've married 28 years, and kids and stuff, and I haven't been in the dating scene, for it would be really tough to navigate this space. But there's so many things that you need to protect yourself for, and it's good to see that on your site there. You do have all those articles where people can do that. And does it include your recommendations about what to do before you even go on to a first date and so forth, or is it something that you're in development?
Yeah, I mean, with the articles, we wrote a lot more of them in the earlier days. Now we sort of, if we write any articles, it really is latest news of what improvements we've made, what sort of new features we've added. And you've got to be careful also when you're adding new features that it can break something in the process. Coding is a very difficult process, and if you're not in that coding world, you don't really understand how many variables are involved. You have databases, you have backends, you have admins, admin panels, you have Google's infrastructure's involved. We've recently swapped over our servers from Google to AWS. Google is just charging us a fortune, but there's still certain variables of Google that have to remain in the system. But yeah, it's a very difficult game to keep everything together and working in unison so that something doesn't break. So when we do implement a new feature, we're always very excited about it, but we always encourage our members to, as I said, let us know. Just let us know that there's something that you found that isn't quite right. We'll give you a free premium subscription for it, just for letting us know, and we'll fix the issue as quickly as possible, because it's impossible for us to, even though we have a lot of systems in place that check the code and look for these things, at the end of the day, the person using the app is always going to be your best source for finding things out,
You'll find the bugs as they're going. That's right, because if there's any issues with the interface while they're working on it, well, they're the best ones to share that. Yeah, absolutely.
They definitely are, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit different. I mean, obviously, a lot of people probably work on Wix sites or something that's easily built. You pull templates out, but building a website like this to keep it secure with privacy and security and all that, there's a lot more involved than just having a blog site.
Yeah,
than with this,
yeah.
isn't it?
Well,
So,
that's the other thing, because we have personal information in there, so we have to really have very good infrastructure. Funny that you mentioned that, because Unjected actually got hacked in the very early days, and they divulged over 3,000. I think it was over 3,000 people's personal information. That's horrific. Like we do not want that to happen on our app, or does any founder of an app want that to happen? Obviously, but we do have a lot of security in place, both from the server side, the back end. We try to keep things very, very tight in that area. So your information is safe. We do protect it, and we don't go looking at people's chats or anything like that. It's none of our business what you chat about. It's more sort of the surface stuff of what you're presenting to other members when they're scrolling through profiles and things like that. The other thing that we do actually do, which I would like to mention, if any members do listen to this, we scan for solicitation. So trigger words scan for solicitation on messages that people send to each other. So if someone's asking for money, if someone's soliciting themselves, like prostitution and things like that, these things will trigger our system, and we do investigate them if we do find something. We haven't had an incident for a while, so I want to commend our members for being very good boys and girls at the moment, and not doing any of that activity. But we have had it in the past where our system has been triggered, where people are on there either asking for money or soliciting. So that's something, that another safety sort of measure that we have in place, that members can rest assured that we are constantly scanning for these things. Hence the biggest problem with dating apps.
Yes, yeah, no, exactly right. Well, you're right, and I mean, people that are genuinely looking for relationships, they've almost that vulnerability of, and it's a massive trust leap to jump on a platform, to put yourself out there for others to meet, or you to meet others. It's a big thing just to even take that step, and so you obviously want to know that your information's secure, that you're looked after, that you're not going to see all that sort of other garbage that you were just talking about, that people want to put on there.
Yep.
And make it a good experience, a genuine experience for people to be able to meet each other and form whatever relationship they're looking for, which is and I guess people can stipulate that by joining up. They can provide as much information, or as little information about themselves, like most dating apps, I'd imagine, so they can share as much as possible. So is there some some must fields that have to be ticked, obviously,
Yep.
but then they can share.
Yeah, our onboarding process is fairly simple, but there are definitely mandatory things that need to be filled in. So, like location, we don't divulge the location, their actual location. It's just basically for searching in discovery, we need to have at least are you in Melbourne, for example? We need to know where you are in the world. There's also, you need to have a profile image. We used to sort of let that go in the earlier stages of the app, but now you must have a profile image that at least shows your face. And are you male? Are you female? Are you something else? We also need you to go through that process as well. I'm just trying to think if there's anything that we don't actually require. That's correct. We don't require the bio. You don't initially, but our system does trigger an email if you don't put anything in your bio. We do send you out an email a day later or something, just encouraging you to put something in the bio, because it'll help members other members know more about you, and it ends up giving you more of a chance to meet someone. So if you're really serious about finding another person, a genuine person that shares your values, I always encourage people to put something in the bio. But apart from that, that's pretty much it. I think that's the only field that's not mandatory in the initial setup. Oh, and things like interests, like you can have as many interests on there as you like, and also the relationship section where you can put all your different relationship needs and stuff. You don't have to do that, but all of these features, they help the person find someone quicker, and also indicates to the other members that they're serious about finding their better half, so to speak.
Yeah, more information is obviously better. If someone can, read your bio, if it's authentic, then obviously they're going to be able to go, well, I'm definitely going to like that profile because, it ticks all the boxes. So that makes sense. So, yeah. So look, it obviously has been a bit of a journey of I guess love and passion for you to put this together. Obviously wanted that ability to be able to have this platform for people that are, obviously. On the outside, they're not. There's a niche. They're definitely in a niche for that. What else are you working? Are you working on anything else apart from Unjabbed at the moment?
I have been working on another project for the last probably 12 months. It's called Healthy, which is HELFI, a bit of a play on the word healthy, and that's healthy.ai. Basically, it's a website that allows you to input all of your current health issues, your medications, your supplements, and it uses artificial intelligence to analyze all of that information. Just to give you a quick example, there are a lot of people out there that take medications and then they might think, well, I'll take some natural supplements as well. But what they might not realize is the natural supplements that they're taking could interact with their actual medication, and they can get themselves in a lot of trouble very quickly. So our system sort of analyzes for interactions, and it allows you to monitor your calories, a little bit like Chronometer, but probably a little bit more advanced, because it sort of monitors your calories and your goals of what you want to achieve with your current health. And basically, let's say you wanted to get shredded, it would adjust the calories, the protein, the fats, the carbohydrates that you would need to consume in order to get ripped. Because sometimes people think, well, I'm working out so much, but I still feel like a blimp. Why am I not shredding? Why am I not losing the body fat that I've got? So the system is designed to help you with all aspects of health. We've got, the image analyzer that analyzes, you might have a rash or something like that. It'll analyze the image and tell you if something's, maybe cancerous. Obviously, we have disclaimers all over the website. You need to go see a health professional. We are not we're not a platform that says that we can solve all your health issues. We always advise our members to see health professionals if they're concerned about something. But this does sort of help you to stay healthy, keep healthy. It even recommends things like meals based on your goals. Like, it'll come up with meals specifically designed for you, which is also done by AI. It analyzes your food by image. You can take a photo of what you're eating, and surprisingly, it's fairly accurate of letting you know what ingredients are on your plate. So if you're out at a restaurant or something and you wanted to get a sort of rough idea of what is in your food and how many calories you're consuming, it'll analyze it. And that technology, as you can imagine, it's just getting better and better all the time. So this is still in development. The web app is functional and working, and if you sign up, you can use it. But we're still in the process of developing the iOS and the Android app. It's a little bit more of a more complicated project than Unjabbed. It has a lot of facets to it, a lot of different areas. We even want to eventually find a practitioner portal on there, as you can see at the top there on the menu, and you will be able to choose any type of practitioner. If you are a practitioner out there, you can join up for the first 6 months. You can join up for free, and I think we only charge like $5 membership a month after that to stay on our database. So, which is quite inexpensive. And at the moment, you can sign up for free. You can try it out. You get a certain amount of tokens given to you to try all the different sections out, and then the pricing is fairly flexible. If you don't want a monthly membership, you can just purchase credits, buy $5 worth of credits. You get 250 credits, which should last you a little while. And that's it. That's pretty much that particular project in a nutshell for now. We haven't really promoted anything as yet because we're still in the building stage. It's more of a beta, in a beta sort of testing phase at the moment. But if anyone out there wants to have a go and go on there and check it out, input all your health data, and it gives you every 7 days. It gives you a health analysis right across every single aspect of what you've inputted into the system.
Yeah, well, it's pretty interesting. So, what was the motivation for you to go down this path for setting? This quite a bit of work, obviously, and initially, obviously, not a lot in return. But what's your big motivation for that?
Well, I guess it sort of ties into Unjabbed in the sense that a lot of the people that didn't want to take the vaccine wanted to remain pure and healthy, and probably valued their health and didn't want to put a foreign chemical inside their body at the time. Personally, myself and my partner, we are health fanatics. We keep fit. We eat as well as we possibly can. We're very sort of, I wouldn't say overly strict, but we play by the 80-20 rule when it comes to food. 80% has to be all pure natural food and not processed. We sort of stay away from anything processed, anything that has numbers on it. And then you have the 20% where you do have some cheat days and eat some naughty food here and there. But I think when it comes to health, I think a lot of people out there are quite lost. Just to let people out there know, I haven't had even so much as a cold or a flu for 18 or 19 years now, pretty much since I met my partner. And I didn't even get COVID at all. So, a lot of people out there, they went through it twice, 3 times, 4 times. And mind you, a lot of these people are probably vaccinated as well. I just think that if you do the right things, I see health like a garbage can. If you put rubbish in there, flies and maggots will come. But if you take the garbage out, well, there's nothing for them to enjoy, is there? So your body's very similar. You put rubbish in there, you're going to have, cancers and all sorts of diseases proliferate inside your body. You keep your body clean, well, chances are you're going to remain healthy. I take a lot of supplements. I probably take about maybe 40 to 50 supplements a day. And that might sound crazy to some people, but I've done this for many, many years now. I've got it down to a fine art. We're all physiologically very different. So one pill does not fit every single person. And this is why I don't like big pharma for this particular reason. Without getting too controversial, I'm not against doctors. I'm not against pharmaceutical drugs. But what I am against is the fact that people think that we're all physiologically the same. We're not. What might work for one person will not work for another person. We're all genetically predisposition to something, some type of diseases or or ailments that we might have, and not being the same. That's why I developed this particular platform, because you input your information in there. You input the medications that you're taking, the supplements that you're taking, the things that you feel at the moment need to be improved for your health. And then using artificial intelligence, it ends up taking all of that information, and it's quite powerful because it really does sort of figure out where you're lacking, what you need, which areas need to be improved. And I think that's probably the future of medicine, the way things are going at the moment. Even doctors right now are using ChatGPT, the latest model, to listen in on the consultation and give them advice. And they look things up straight away. So I think that within probably 10 years, maybe even sooner, I think doctors are cooked. I think the whole medical industry is cooked, because whatever they know, the AI will be better at analyzing it. And this was probably might have been even like 6 or 7 months ago. Don't quote me on this, but I did read somewhere there was a study that they did where they had normal doctors, like, hundreds of doctors, analyzing different symptoms and cancers and things, and then they had the AI doing it. I think the doctors got 50 to 60% accuracy, whereas the AI was getting around the 90 something percent accuracy. Now that was 5-6 months ago. The new models that have come out in recent times, and mind you, artificial intelligence doesn't develop yearly or even monthly. It develops daily. So the main companies involved, like OpenAI, Anthropic, DeepSeek, which are some of the Chinese models, Kimi K3, they're leapfrogging each other on a daily basis. And so what we had 6 months ago is so inferior to what we currently have. And right now we're in this, I guess we have artificial intelligence using large language models. I think we're on the precipice of getting to artificial general intelligence very soon. Once we get to that point, there won't be a human on the planet that's going to be as smart as an AI agent, as we like to call them. And then we have the next point after that, which probably won't take much longer, would be ASI, which is artificial super intelligence. Once we get to that, I don't think there's going to be a problem on the planet that won't be able to be solved using AI. So we're headed for a very interesting future, a very abundant future. I mean, our medical system at the moment is, let's face it, it is broken. You go and see a doctor in emergency, or you'd be waiting for 12 hours straight sometimes just to be seen for something, general, something simple. And I think in future, once AI is embodied in, let's say, once humanoid robots are happening, and that's happening quite fast, the technological advances in that area have been absolutely phenomenal of what's going on. Once it's embodied, I don't think that doctors will be required. I think they will be the new doctors. I think they'll be the new nurses. I think they'll look after people in nursing homes. So human labor, as we know it, I think is slowly going to start to disappear, and humans will get to live life and live their purpose. I mean, there's so many people out there that don't like their jobs at the moment. I'm sure they'd be very happy to be able to do the things they've always wanted to do. Some people will struggle with it, obviously, because their job is their purpose. And no one's going to stop people from working. I just think that we'll have a choice. I mean, everyone loves, not everyone, not myself, my partner, for example, she loves gardening, but she hates doing the weeding. So imagine you have a robot beside you doing all the weeding while you're tending to your roses. Just things like that. So that's the sort of future I think we're headed for. And it was sort of the inspiration of putting healthy.ai together.
Mm. Yeah, well, thanks for giving that overview, and it might be worthwhile, even if you're up to it, we'll have maybe a follow-up chat to maybe talk into those sorts of things a bit more, because I guess, from a Christian standpoint, for me, obviously this platform's a Christian platform. I do, believe in a creator, and you start to get into this ethical thinking and so forth. And I mean, it's the way it's going, obviously, and the pace it's going. It sounds like you're very much more in tune into the development of that because of what you're working on and what your knowledge base is. So it'd be good to if you're up to it, have a bit of a yarn about that. And I guess for me, it comes down to the safeguards. When you start talking about, I'm old enough to know the Terminator series, and we start talking about humanoids and thinking and all that sort of stuff, right? And there's a real concern from people about where's the limits to this sort of where's the limits to this sort of stuff, because then you're talking people not working, then there's the UBI, universal basic income. Again, you'll have the state sort of saying, well, here's your money, but in order for you to get that, then there's obviously conditions. So it's a big topic. Yes. So very, very, very interesting conversation to have. But I've appreciated obviously your insight into that. I really like the idea of the site, and you're right. I mean, where would we have been 5 years ago if doctors in their surgeries had a person that was hesitant about taking a COVID-19 vaccine? They actually had proper studies, access to studies online where they could punch it into an AI that brought out all the information. Because most doctors, I've talked to so many doctors through my platform and during the last 5 years that hardly get any immunology or vaccine education as part of their doctorate, becoming doctors and so forth. And for them to have the things like that on hand. But then again, it relies on data in, data out, right? From what I understand, large language models.
That's correct. Only at the moment. But they are starting to get to a point where they are actually reasoning. So that's the interesting thing. And as you said, I would love to have this conversation in more depth at another time. But just to let you know that the large language models that we have at the moment, the architecture that we have at the moment, is getting pushed to its limits. But even though it is getting pushed to those limits, it is starting to, from me working with the technology, I'm finding that it's starting to reason, or at least it's starting to get very good at mimicking reasoning, if you know what I mean, because it is capable of mimicking human behavior. But there are a lot of startups out there that are actually working on different architecture altogether, and I do think that's what's going to happen fairly soon, that they're going to change that architecture of the large language model, that it will be able to get to that artificial general intelligence that I was mentioning before. And I think the conversation on this topic, if we decide to do that, would be very interesting, because I love to discuss what the Christian perspective is when it comes to artificial intelligence. And it's interesting that you mentioned the fear factor of the Terminator series and all that sort of thing. The way I see technology, it doesn't matter which technology has ever happened during human history. The first thing that happens is fear. Even when the printing press was invented, the first thing people thought was, oh, well, we're going to have an overload of information and we're all going to go crazy. When the TV was invented, it was a similar type of thing. When the Industrial Revolution came along, I mean, I think it was like 90+% of the world's population were all farmers. But then that changed, didn't it? And everyone thought, well, it's going to destroy the human race as we know it. I do, however, believe that the last invention that the humans ever invent will be artificial general intelligence. Once that's done, and it's smarter than any human on the planet, there's nothing that a human's going to be able to invent, even creatively, that artificial general intelligence won't be able to do on its own. So I always say to people, don't be scared of the technology. Use it to your advantage. Think of the people, for example, that purchased Bitcoin when it was a couple of dollars or even $1,000. What was mainstream media telling people? Oh, don't get involved in that. Don't buy that. What were expert financial advisors telling people? Don't buy that. Now, imagine the people that listen to all those news articles, how they're feeling today with Bitcoin at almost $100,000. Does it go up and down? Is it volatile? Absolutely. But had you purchased it at $100, at $1,000, at even at 20,000, it's the highest growing asset on the planet, the quickest growing asset on the planet. So I always say, when a new technology comes on board, use it to your advantage. Don't be scared of it. And look, is there a chance that artificial intelligence can destroy us all? Absolutely. Some experts think even 90% chance. Some think 20%. Some think that might be 50%. But at the end of the day, do they really know?
Well,
Can
I mean, there's
you
some
guarantee that they know?
Yeah, well, there's some humans that have got their finger on a nuclear button for nuclear weapons. So, that could
Absolutely.
happen anytime too. We've got some
Yeah.
very, very
The
corrupt and
invention of the
fallen people.
nuclear bomb. Yeah, you see what I mean? Like, we've had that
Yeah.
for quite a while now, but
Mm.
have we all blown up?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully never.
No, well, exactly right. Very, very, very interesting discussion, and I'm pretty sure that could be quite a lengthy chat. And I think it really just depends on who controls the information. Again, it's like anybody. Use it to your advantage as best as possible, but with a healthy kind of bit of skepticism as well, and being aware that there can be some boundaries that get crossed, but it's going to happen regardless of whether me sitting here, you sitting there, talking about it. It's going to happen,
We're
and
not going to
it's
stop
about
it.
no, it's well and truly on its way. So no, but look, it's been a real great chat. I'm just going to chuck the so this one's obviously still this before we finish up. This one's still in development, but it's healthy.ai if people want to check that out. So that www.helfi.ai is the the site there. If people did want to just check that out, browse around it. But the main one, obviously, that we were talking about today is obviously the Unjabbed web app and app. And people can check that out as well. Jump on board, see if they want to look at jumping on board and subscribing, and see where it leads them. And pretty sure people will be happy, having to listen to you, someone that's behind the app, and helping them understand that what your purpose and your mission is in regards to it. So, and that is unjabbed.app .app, unjabbed.app for people that want to check that out. So, Louie, it's been a pleasure having a yarn, and hopefully it's helped and some people jump on board and check out Unjabbed as well.
Absolutely, Mark, and I appreciate you having me on. And so look forward to maybe another chat with you in future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's keep in touch and see what we can make happen. Good on you. All the best, Louie. All the best.
You too. Have a good day.